Well, to be honest with you, I'm not really that upset. At least they showed a little bit of heart, man. Let's talk about it.
Here we go! Yeah, here we go! Wait, take Cowboys.
Throws back of the end zone. There's
What's going on, everybody? Cowboy C3 here. Well, Cowboys lose 28-25 in what ended up being a hard-fought football game. Still disappointing. Very disappointing. In my keys to the game, I said, I just think the Cowboys should just watch my keys to the game. If they watch my keys to the game, they'll be prepared for what the opposing team is going to have in store for them. I promise you. Key number one, account for number 8 at all times. That didn't happen. Key number 2, just slow down the run game. Slow down Derrick Henry. That didn't happen. That really didn't happen. And force them to throw the ball, which they didn't do. So we talk about the stats today. For Baltimore, Lamar Jackson goes 12-15 for 182 yards and a touchdown. Rushing, Derrick Henry goes 25 carries, 151 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson goes 14 carries for 87 yards and a touchdown. Justice Hill goes 5 carries for 33 yards. Each running back averaged as follows: Derrick Henry, 6 yards a carry, Lamar Jackson, 6.2 yards per carry, and Justice Hill, 6.6 yards per carry. Leading receivers for Baltimore, Nelson Aguilar had 1 catch for 56 yards. Rashawn Bateman had 3 catches for 28 yards and a touchdown. Defensively, they were led by Roquan Smith, had 11 total tackles, and Kyle Hamilton had 12 total tackles. For the Cowboys, Dak Prescott goes 28-51 for 379 and 2 touchdowns. Leading rusher was Rico Dowdle, 8 carries for 32 yards. Dak Prescott was your second leading rusher, 2 carries for 7 yards and a touchdown. Zeke goes 3 for 6. Deuce Vaughn goes 2 carries for 5 yards. Receiving wise, Jake Ferguson goes 6 catches for 95 yards. CD has 4 catches for 67 yards. Kevontae Turpin has 3 catches for 51 yards and a touchdown. And Jalen Turbo has 3 catches for 42 yards and a touchdown. Leading tacklers on the team, Eric Kendricks had 12 total tackles. Kalen Carson was your second leading tackler with 6 tackles. Trayvon Diggs had 6 tackles. Malik Hooker had 5 tackles, and Micah Parsons had 4 tackles. As a team, Baltimore had 456 total yards, 182 passing, 274 rushing. Also had 13 penalties for 105 yards. A lot of those penalties came at the end of the game. Cowboys go 411 total, 360 passing, 51 yards rushing, 6 penalties for 44 yards. Who's to blame? That was the question that I asked today the most. Who's to blame? Offense didn't catch on to the fourth quarter, right? First 3 quarters, it was a struggle. Couldn't run the ball. There was something going on today with CD Lamb and Dak Prescott. CD gets into these funks where he gets emotional, right? And you have to stop that. As a professional athlete, right, you have to stop that. Things are not going to always go your way. You're going to be double covered in games. You're the best receiver on the football team, one of the top 5 receivers in the NFL. Matter of fact, you're probably the only reliable target other than Jake Ferguson that the football team has. You have to understand that some days you're just going to be a decoy. You're going to take some pressure off of the quarterback with an extra person being on you. That's just what's going to happen, right? And you have to understand that. On the sideline one time, Zach Martin walked up to him, and and Zach Martin's like, unquestioned leader on the football team. Zach Martin walked over there and asked him, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm fine, man. I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. I'm all in. Just give me the fucking ball." Right. And Dak tried, right? Dak's under pressure. Terrence Steele has got to go. He has to go. I just don't understand. Derek says we can't run the ball. You're absolutely right, Derek. We can't run the ball for shit. Just can't do it. I told a stat last night, Derek, that said the Cowboys, the way their offensive line is blocking, should be averaging 5.7 yards per carry. And right now they're averaging 3.2 yards per carry. That's the running backs. That's all that is. They're not hitting holes. They're not doing anything. Who was high? CD? Possibly. I don't know. You can't get in these funks. But whatever happened on that sideline, he pissed Dak off because Dak didn't even throw him the ball at the end of the game. And the offense moved fine, right? You have to get over yourself, right? You have to get over yourself. You have to understand that sometimes you're going to be a decoy. I'm not mad at the competitive nature of CeeDee Lamb. I'm just saying don't become toxic. Don't sit on the sideline and pout. Even Tom Brady said during the game, I don't like CeeDee's body language today. I didn't like it either. Not at all. You're better than that, for one. You're one of the top 5 receivers in the NFL. You just got paid for your performances, right? In your previous 4 years of work. Don't let the Ravens get in your head. And that's exactly what happened. The press covering him. Marlon Humphreys did an excellent job today, press covering him. Had him pretty much locked up, and he was getting frustrated. That's a great question, Derek. I don't know what the hell is going on with Terrence Steele, but I would be looking to make a change at right tackle. The most of your pressure came today from that right side, from the right side of your offense. A lot of times it looked like that the defensive end for the Ravens, no matter who it was that lined over Terrence Steele, was breaking free, and that was insane. Dak's under a lot of pressure. He's trying to move around in the pocket and make things happen, especially in the fourth quarter. It's like he understood, like, look, man, I know I'm going to have pressure in my face. I know I'm about to get hit. I am just going to have to take some of these hits and just deliver the ball down the field. And you can almost tell he made it a point like I'm not throwing the ball to CeeDee Lamb. Like, I'm not doing it. And, that has to be frustrating for CD, but CD has to understand, man, like, you got to keep your cool. You got to keep your composure. At 28-3, I already had thumbnails and stuff ready for this show right now that it was all negative, right? It was about to be all negative, and to some degree it still is. I think Mike Zimmer's concept is old and outdated. Take, for instance, the third down throw to Zay Flowers that ended the game, right? You got a bunch formation to the right. They had kind of been running that formation on third downs the entire game. Wide receiver running back motions out of the backfield. We'll talk about that in just a second, Derek. I don't like it either. You are in man-to-man coverage and you dropped your cornerback about 7 to 8 yards. Lamar Jackson literally just took a 3-step drop and threw a 5-yard out, and that ended the game. You can't play man on a bunch formation. Not at the end of the game. You can't do it. It's a horrendous call at the end of the game. And if you're in a zone and you got somebody just going to go out there and stand there, that takes that throw away. And maybe Lamar Jackson completes the pass over the middle for a first down, but he hadn't completed a pass over the middle all game. Everything that he threw was just kind of short. Yeah, offensive and defensively, Derek, the play calling is terrible. It really is. The play calling on offense was pretty horrendous up until the fourth quarter, but I think that Dak probably just kind of took a lot of that into his own hands. He's just at the line of scrimmage calling plays, and he's just throwing the ball around the football field, which is what they should do. It seems like we get locked into play calling for CeeDee Lamb Everything else is just kind of trivial, right? We can't run the ball very well. Running backs we've already talked about this on numerous podcasts before this, right? On here. We don't run the ball well. Every single deep pass goes to CD Lamb. I was happy to see Brandon Cooks at least take some deep shots today. Dak take some deep shots today to Brandon Cooks. He also took a couple to Jalen Tolbert just to kind of loosen the defense up. We talked about that as the offense keys to the game, and they did that, right? Talked about another receiver getting involved. Tolbert and Turpin got involved at the end of the game, caught some touchdown passes because CD was, as Derek would tell us, he was high. His head was not in the game. He was frustrated. He let the Baltimore defense frustrate him, and that's not good. You can't do that. Like, you absolutely cannot do that. For the life of me, I still don't understand why you don't line up Turpin in the slot, put Turpin and CD on the same side, and let Turpin put pressure on the defense by just running a go. I don't understand it. It doesn't happen. Ferguson came back today. It was evident early, that he was going to be a difference maker in the game. Kind of went away from it in the second and the third quarter, but in the fourth quarter, they went right back to him. Hunter Lemke made some excellent catches at the end of the game as well. Rico Dowdle caught a screen pass. Deuce Vaughn finally caught a pass. Got 8 yards on it, but it put some pressure on the defense. Baltimore was reeling at the end of the game, and you needed a stop. That's all you needed, and the defense couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. Account for 8 at all times on that last on the last play before the kneel down. They didn't account for 8. They didn't account for 8 a lot today. That first drive was terrible. To be honest with y'all, man, I was ready to stop watching after that first drive. I was ready. Lamar Jackson he was spreading the ball around to different receivers. He was running, read option to perfection, ran a read option perfectly for like a 23-yard touchdown on the first drive of the game. 18-yard touchdown for the first drive of the game. Literally just jogged in the end zone by himself. This defense has to do better. It has to. I got a text message today during the game that said no more players from Michigan. It might be time to just say Mozzie Smith was a loss and just let him go. Not necessarily. You're not going to get much trade value for him. You're just not. You may be able to trade him to the Chargers, to his old head coach in Michigan, and get something for him. Maybe a 5th or 6th round pick, something like that. But it's kind of like that thing what San Francisco did with Trey Lance. You got to just eat your loss. Hey, we made a bad draft choice, and try to get rid of him while you can get something out of him, or you're gonna end up just cutting him and just being done with him in general. Baltimore averaged 6.2 yards per carry today. 6.2. That's not good. That's not good at all. And all the talk during the week, well, especially it started like I think Wednesday or Thursday, right? And I wasn't even gonna bring it up on here because I think it's just stupid. But Jamie Foxx's little live on Instagram with Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones is up there talking about meat sizes, right? Jerry just need to take his ass home. Say, who's to blame for all this? Shit, Jerry's to blame for all this. You keep doing the same thing, hiring these bullshit ass coaches, right? That were coaches that were relevant back in your day. Like, man, we need some young people in here. We need some young-minded people in here, some innovators in here to come in, get these players where they need to go. Man, ain't nobody listening to this old ass dude over here tell us to run a 4-3 defense and play off of them. Man, we can't stop the run. You got these linebackers in here. You got these bullshit defensive linemen. I don't want to hear shit about $60 million Dak. Not trying to hear, because we got $28 million in salary cap space right now. Right now. I think it's like number 3 in the NFL. Right now. You got $28 million. Make a fucking move, Jerry. Do something to save this season. Do something. All you want to do is have a camera in your face. That's all you want to. You are the blame. The second blame, of course, is going to be Mike McCarthy. This is his team. But you got this 85-year-old defensive coordinator over here that ain't doing shit. He's not doing anything with the talent that he has. Predominantly because the defensive line play sucks. You're the only person today that you could clearly see that was really giving a lot. Really giving a lot was the DeMarcus Lawrence. But he's always done that. He's your best run stop on your defensive line from the defensive end position. Your defensive tackles don't do anything. They started getting a little bit of penetration in the fourth quarter because everybody was excited about what was going on. They were playing hard. What'd you do for the first 3 quarters? You didn't play hard? Is that what you're saying? It has to be, man. It has to be 270 yards rushing in the NFL game for the Baltimore Ravens. And Derrick Henry practically begged to be a damn Cowboy. Begged to be a Cowboy. Bought a house here. His wife is from here. Worked out here in Frisco all summer long. And the Cowboys didn't even call him. Didn't even call him. You cannot tell me right now that Derrick Henry is not better than any running back on this team. You can't tell me that. I see it. If the offensive line is blocking where the running back should be gaining 5+ yards per carry, Derrick Henry gonna get 6. That's what he's gonna do because he's gonna get to that 5 point and then he's 260 pounds. He's just gonna fall forward for another yard. Instead, we want to see what Zeke's going to do. You see what Zeke's going to do. 3 carries for 6 yards today. You see what he's going to do. Nothing. And don't think for a second that this game on Thursday is a for sure win because the Giants kicked Cleveland's ass today. They woke up. Malik Neighbors woke up. So that ain't a gimme either. It would be a damn shame to be 1-3. Eagles won today too. They beat the team that you absolutely got demolished by. They didn't have too much trouble with them. And their run defense is supposed to be worse than yours. But their defensive tackles showed up today and played football. They got some big name defensive tackles. They got University of Georgia over there on defense, right? They're too deep. Oh man, this is frustrating. It's super frustrating because you know what's going to happen before it even happens. Everybody in America knew that Baltimore was going to come in here and run the football. Your job was to stop it. And you were unprepared again. That's on the head coach, though. Your head coach has to get his team prepared. He has to. Something has to give. Cowboys, I don't think the Cowboys have ever fired a coach mid-season. I don't think they will this year, but I don't think it should be out of the question. You have no control of your locker room. Everybody on the sidelines fussing at each other and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a catastrophe today up until the fourth quarter. Micah Parsons over there going off on the defensive lineman. DeMarcus Lawrence sitting there, they just going back and forth. CeeDee Lamb, over there pouting and shit on the sideline. Zach Martin had to go over there and ask him, is he okay? Dak going over there trying to talk to him. Coaches going over there trying to talk to him. Just get me the ball. How are we supposed to get you the ball, man? You locked up. And then you start dropping passes in the fourth quarter too. Dak was like, I'm not throwing you the ball no more, man. He started hitting other receivers, and it's good. I think that that's a good thing. I do. Because, okay, we don't have to throw the ball to CeeDee Lamb every play. So Mike McCarthy stopped calling the same bullshit over and over and over and over again. Who the coordinator only called on him 3 times? Who? Tell me in the comments who. Whoever it is, I'd like to talk about it because I don't really know who you're talking about. Probably because I was on my rant. My bad. He might be, Derek. He might be. I don't know how to fix it other than to change the culture in the locker room. And, the players are fighting each other. there's obviously something missing. There's no chemistry really, and a lot of that probably has to do with CD not showing up to training camp, right? Where you build a lot of continuity. I'm sure they did work over the off season. So and they're a pretty dynamic group duo anyway. Him and Dak Prescott, but not today. Not today. The offensive coordinator is an afterthought. Not Shanahan. What is it? See, I don't even remember his name. Mike McCarthy is the one that's calling the plays. That's you. The offensive coordinator just came up with this bullshit ass offense that they run now, right? Mike McCarthy is the play caller. He's the play caller. It is the play calling is on him. It's not on the Schottenheimer as the offensive coordinator. It's not on Schottenheimer. It's on McCarthy. McCarthy is the one that's calling this offense. He's got the play sheet. He's the one in the helmet talking to Dak. And I promise you, at the end of this game, Dak was like, I'm just going, man. Like, I don't have time for this. I'm going. And he went. And it looked good. And he gave him an opportunity to win. We just needed a stop, at least to tie it, right? We just needed a stop, and we couldn't get it. But to be honest with you, like even the couple of stops that they did get in the fourth quarter, that was great. But when you really needed it, hell, we needed it all game. We needed to stop the run all game. The Cowboys can't stop the run. They can't do it. This was a problem last year. Zimmer was supposed to come in and shore this up, and he hasn't done it. And I don't know. I don't know where you go from here. You got $28 million in salary cap space. I'm not necessarily interested. I wouldn't be interested in signing another free agent to come in and play on the defensive line. Do you trade for one? There's a lot of rumor going around that they would trade for another wide receiver, another like a solid number 2 wide receiver. And the 3 names that were brought up were Devontae Adams, which I don't think would be a number 2 here. He would be like a 1B, right? Devontae Adams. Guy from Carolina, Johnson, and Amari Cooper. I don't even know if Amari Cooper will want to come back here, to be honest. But strictly the way how he left, I mean, you literally got rid of a quality wide receiver who in Cleveland doesn't really have good quarterback play. Not really, because Deshaun Watson hasn't been doing anything. But just the way you got rid of 6th-round draft pick, you get rid of a 1B wide receiver. I don't even know if I would be interested in coming back. If the Cowboys aren't talking about trading for a running back or trading for a defensive lineman, then I don't think that's very wise anyway. You still have Dalvin Cook, another older running back on the practice squad. I'm almost for certain that he'll be activated after this week. I don't know if he'll play Thursday, but that next game, 10 days later against Pittsburgh, I would almost guarantee that you'll see Dalvin Cook in that game. Like you almost have to. You have to give him a shot. You signed him for a reason. Signed him the last week of training camp. He's been learning the playbook now for almost a month. Give him a shot. Why not? It's got to be better than what's going on now. Not saying that Rico Dowdle's playing bad. Not playing bad at all. I mean, Baltimore just kind of took him out of a situation where they could even run the ball. And, he averaged 4 yards a carry. That's not terrible today. Not terrible at all. I just don't know what you do. You have to change. There has to be a change in the locker room. There has to be. And I think if you fire McCarthy, the interim coach will probably be Al Harris. Al Harris seems to have a pretty good relationship with the defensive players. And you see him, he walks down the sideline. He talks to everybody. Like offensive players, defensive players, special teams players. He's involved trying to get everybody excited on the sideline. I saw Mike McCarthy today, though, man. He kind of caught fire in that fourth quarter, too. He was out there yelling at the defense, punch the ball out. They showed some fight. I will give them that. They showed some fight. But it wasn't enough fight. But this defensive scheme that's happening now in these first 3 games is shown no sign of working. Maybe in the first week, right? But obviously that Cleveland team is not the same as it was last year. That's pretty obvious. Because the next 2 games, they got throttled. Even though today the score was 28-25, anytime you give up the rushing yards today that the Cowboys gave up, I mean, you can tell that was Baltimore's game plan. We're finna come in here and run the ball down your throat, which everybody knew that was going to be their game plan, and you did absolutely nothing to stop it, except for twice in the fourth quarter. That's all you did. Rest of the game was just kind of a free fall. It's tough. It's tough. Where do we go from here? That remains to be seen. Jerry need to get this man meat off his brain and just worry about this football team, putting together a quality football team with some quality coaches. You have enough talent on this team to win, though. You do. You have enough talent. It's just something has to click. Something has to give. And I don't think that McCarthy or anybody on that coaching staff right now can make that click. He's going to have a hard time finding a new head coach, though. The new head coach quite literally could be Al Harris because he's used to this bullshit, right? And he knows how to put up with it. Anybody from the outside looking in with the parameters that Jerry's going to bring you in under, right? They're not coming here. Like Belichick ain't coming here. Belichick wants control of his football team. He ain't coming here. This is a collective fuckery is what it is. That's all it is. And there's nobody really to blame. I mean, if you want to go deep down, get the roots out. The root of the problem in the Dallas Cowboy organization is the owner / general manager. That's where it is. And I don't know how people can't see that. I don't. It's been 30 years. The common denominator for 30 years of Cowboy failure is Jerry. That is the common denominator. This is a shit show, is what it is. And, Cowboy fans, hey, man, we kind of tired of it. We really are. I love them to death, right? My favorite team. You see behind me, I support everything Dallas, everything around here. Those are my teams. I'm from here, born here, raised here. My dad and my granddad had season tickets to when the Cowboys played in the Cotton Bowl, carried over to Texas Stadium, carried over into Cowboy Stadium. Been going to Cowboy games my whole life, Maverick games my whole life. Not too many Stars games, Ranger games all summer long. I've been doing it like for years, and then I joined the Navy and I fly back. To go to games with my dad. This is what I do. I support the Cowboys all the time, right? Support the Mavericks, support the Stars, support the Rangers, right? Rangers gave us an ultimate high last year winning the World Series. But this city would turn upside down if the Cowboys won a Super Bowl, even made it to a Super Bowl. This city would be on fire, boy. It would be positivity everywhere. Can't do it. Can't do it because your owner's in the way. Yeah, the successes are his too. He's worth $12 billion. That's why it's hard to tell a person like that they losing, right? How can you tell somebody that they losing when they bought an organization for like 160, 170 million? They turned it to a $12 billion, flipped it to a $12 billion organization. Most sports franchises worth the most in the world. How can you tell him he losing? He like, shit, look at my bank account. I ain't losing shit. As long as it's butts and seats and them high dollar seats with that high dollar parking and them high dollar hot dogs and that $20 can of beer and they selling them, I ain't losing. I'm not losing. That's his mentality. You can tell it obviously is. He don't want to build no winner. He don't want to. He wants to do it his way. Them Super Bowls and stuff, back when we was in middle school, Derek, them Super Bowls and shit, man, that was Jimmy. Jimmy was the general manager, right? Jimmy was the one bringing the team in here. Jimmy was the one coaching the team. Jimmy built that coaching staff. Jimmy built the climate in the locker room. Jimmy built all of that. And if you didn't want to conform to what Jimmy was doing, you were gone. You were gone. Jerry came in and decided he could do it his way. Jimmy backed away. I don't blame him. I back away too. Barry Switzer came in here and caught a, residual championship for him, right? That was all Jimmy's stuff, everything. Barry just came in here and was like, shit, I ain't gonna change nothing. Shit, it works. And the year they won the Super Bowl, they went 12-5. Oh, I want to say they went like 10-6. Still won the Super Bowl, right? And after that, after it was over with, what did they do after that? Shit, they ain't done nothing for 30 years. Nothing. So, yeah, the successes back then are his, but that had a whole lot to do with Jimmy. A whole lot. Since then, what successes does he have? Football-wise, not money-wise, football-wise. How do you give out a player's measurables and include his dick size? How? Like, what is this? This is the type of cat that you're dealing with, and you want to blame everybody else. Oh, this is Dak's fault. Last time we won a Super Bowl, man, Dak was one. Dude probably wasn't even potty trained yet. There's a common denominator to the entire issue that's going on with the Dallas Cowboys, and his name is Jerry Jones. That's his name. Everybody kind of had like this was one of those games today that when you saw the schedule, the first time you saw the schedule, you have to be honest with yourself and just say like, hey, I marked that one down as a L. Because you did. You didn't think Dallas was going to win today. I told you last night I picked Baltimore. I picked them. I think I picked them 30-18 or something like 30-16, something like that. Shit, they almost got 30. They got 28. Missed a field goal. Justin Tucker missed a field goal. I'll be damned. They'd have scored 31. Cowboys scratched and clawed to make it 25. Oh, Dak got all his yards in garbage time. He got all them yards in garbage time. Shit, he turned the game. He flipped it from garbage time and made it a football game today. Behind a bad offensive line, Tyler Guyton called too many penalties today. He had a rough game. Cooper Beebe had a rough game too. I saw him get beat right up the middle. It was pretty bad, right? But Terrence Steele, he's got to go. I don't care if he got paid or not. He got to go. When Richards gets back healthy and is ready to go, like Terrence Steele got to come out. Well, let's go. I play him too. I at least give him a shot. He got to be better than that. He has to be. I always gave Terrence Steele a pass last year because he was coming fresh off the ACL. He's just getting beat now. It was a couple of times just on regular pass rush, and Baltimore's defensive ends on third downs, they line up kind of wide, right? He was coming around. He didn't even get a hand on him. I don't know, man. I don't know what you do. I know one thing you have to do is you have to beat New York. You have to beat New York, and you use those 10 days to regroup, and you get to go into a Pittsburgh team that's going to pose another problem because their quarterback can run too. Hopefully Russ is healthy and you don't have to deal with that. But one thing that Pittsburgh does is they play solid defense. They're going to pose a problem with that again, and they're going to go at your offensive line, especially at your right tackle. Just like I told everybody last night that Baltimore is going to go after the right tackle. And they did, and they were successful. Not saying that Cooper Beebe and Tyler Guyton played bad today because they didn't, right? They didn't play horrible, but they got beat on some plays, which is going to happen with rookies, right? But Terrence Steele is your right tackle. He's working off his second contract. Like, he got paid, right? But you got paid to protect the quarterback, and you did a horrendous job. You done a bad job of it all year. It's week 3. I understand it's early, right? But you cannot allow your quarterback to get pressured like that. Not because that's all you got. You ain't got no running game. At least give him a couple of clean pockets to throw in. And they did a much better job in the fourth quarter. But a couple of times Dak would just break contain. He'd break contain, roll out, and throw the ball down the field and complete some passes. That third down pass to Hunter Lemke was crucial on that last touchdown, on that last drive where he threw the touchdown to Kevontae Turpin. That was crucial. It was like on a 3rd and 6. He bailed him out. Lots of things to work on. You only got 4 days to work on it this week. That's it, because you play Thursday night. And you play the Giants, who coming in off a high. Daniel Jones actually looked like an NFL quarterback today. They found a receiver. They found Malik Neighbors. They ran the ball pretty efficiently today, too, and they played good defense. Cleveland made a couple of scores at the end, to make it 21-15, but it was, it was 21-6 for the longest. That's not going to be a gimme. Giants like, yeah, we can beat Dallas. That's for sure. We can beat them. 1-2. That's how it starts. You have to be careful not to let this thing slide, though. You have to be, because there's a distinct possibility that it could, because after this New York game, you got a 10-day break. Then you got Pittsburgh. Next week, you got Detroit. Then you got a bye week. Then you got to go back to San Francisco. Then you got Philly. And then in 6 weeks, you play Washington. This has the potential to get really bad if you don't fix it right now. You have to fix it right now. And that starts Thursday night. You get a 10-week break just like a bye week, and then you get to play Pittsburgh. It's got to be fixed by the time you get to Pittsburgh. These 4 days, you're going to have to go with what you got. You're going to have some players banged up after this game. They're going to have to take some ice baths, eat some Wheaties, get ready to go Thursday night, because the Giants going to be ready, because they coming off a win, baby. They feeling good right now. They feeling like, shit, we can battle for this division. We got the same record as these Cowboys do. It is what it is. All right. We will do matchup Tuesday, pregame Wednesday, postgame Thursday night, right after the game. We're going to do it. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll be right here. Gotta be. We may combine everything up for Wednesday. Give me an opportunity to just watch some film and see what the Giants do well. I don't know much about them. I know it's been pretty dismal up until today. Seems like they put some things together today. Watch some film, talk about them, see the keys to victory. We may do all of that on Wednesday, and then Thursday go live right after the game. So we'll go Wednesday, Thursday, and we'll still do a long show on Saturday. We'll still do that. And hopefully we talk more about a win and what the Cowboys need to do to prepare for Pittsburgh, in Pittsburgh. All right. Well, it was promising at the end. It was. I was proud of them. They went out. They didn't go out without a fight. They really could have laid down. Going into the fourth quarter, it was 28-6. They could have laid down. And your only bright spot before the Cowboys got on the roll was Brandon Aubrey again with a 65-yard field goal and a 54-yard field goal. He might be the best player on the team. He might be. They play Cleveland with a terrible offense. All the Giants do is force the ball to Neighbors. Yeah, but Larry, if you playing 10, 12 yards off the ball like they were doing today, shit, that might not be bad. It might not be. They have to clean this up. They have to. This has to be cleaned up. And like I was saying before, I don't know how much cleaning that you can do in 4 days. Really only 3, because you're not going to do nothing tonight. You coming in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, when Wednesday's probably going to be a travel day. So you got 2 days to clean this up. You're not going to practice. You're not. You're just not going to practice. You're going to come up with a game plan and go into New York off a team that's coming in hot. Cowboys offense looked pretty terrible today too, up until the fourth quarter. I think something clicked though. I think so. I hope they did. I hope it did. Because it looks like a lot of these games you're going to have to go score for score because your defense is not going to get you any stops. It's just not going to do it. It is what it is. Giants running game is definitely worse than the Cowboys. It is. And they rely on Daniel Jones a lot, but Daniel Jones came through in the clutch for him today. He did. And they play physical football. And we have all seen, especially in these last 2 weeks, the Cowboys don't handle physicality very well. They soft. They are soft. It's got to get better, though. It has to. It has to get better, or it's going to be a really, really, really long season. Very long. All right. Wednesday, we'll do preview, keys to victory, talk injury reports, talk a little bit about the Giants and what they do, give a prediction. Thursday night football game. After the game, late night C3, I'll be here. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about a Cowboy victory. That's what we're going to talk about. I'm speaking that to existence right now. You have to beat the Giants. You have to. Today was, for three quarters, was just an extension of the Saints game, and then the offense finally woke up. And I told you yesterday that in the pregame, right? I told you Dak's got to wake the hell up, and he did. He woke up finally. Don't force the ball to CD. Don't do it. If he's open, hit him. If you hit other people, you'll make them come out of that double coverage, and then you can do what you want to do with CD Lamb. But CD also has to understand, hey, bro, you might not get going to the third quarter, and you ain't getting every pass. You're not getting that. There are other wide receivers on this football team. We need to use them. They have to. All right. Wednesday, we'll be here. Thursday, we'll be here. And we'll be here again on Saturday. If you guys haven't done it already, make sure you like and subscribe. I appreciate everybody coming in here on the live. It was fun again today, just talking to you guys, talking football. Wish it would have been about a win. I do. But Thursday night, we're going to get one. Not even. I'm speaking it. I ain't worried about it. We're speaking it to existence right now. We're going to get a win on Thursday. All right. This is it. Cowboys lose 28-25 to the Ravens. On to Thursday night. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Have a great night. Enjoy the rest of it. Have a good work week this week, or whatever you're doing this week. Make sure it's good. All right. Peace.